Yeah, now stand and cheer for your Euroleague Finale.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Talking Basketball Podcast. I am
What a bloody intro that was.
That was not bad.
And we have a guest.
We do have a
Paul.
guest.
Hello.
Yeah, we do have a guest. Who is he?
Am I introducing him or just say George is here?
We could say Gorgeous George.
George is here. George is back.
George is back.
Guess who's back?
Our resident Olympiacos expert.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that. Yeah.
Hang on. So we got back in the house. Euroleague expert is back to tell us about the Final Four. And he brought beer with him, some or snowflakes. You've had your warning now.
Where's the alert?
Snowflake alert coming up now. Oh, there you go. There's just
Wow. That's the
there's
snowflake
alert. Turn off now if you're going to get upset. Right, George. What a bloody Final Four.
Yeah,
He's happy.
Definitely.
Look at him with his little T-shirt on, with his.
Mate, look, I'm not going to lie. This is the first Final Four that Panathinaikos went to that I was like, do you know what? They've done brilliant this year. If they don't win, it's fine. I'm not going to, get disappointed or so. And they only went and just bloody won it. So
Bloody did it.
And where did they come last season, George? Just for the viewers' benefit.
17th out of 18.
17 out of 18. That's embarrassing.
Yeah. And what do you think was the change around?
Obviously, there was a massive investment this year.
An injection of cash, didn't they?
Yes. They got 12 new players. They got top star players. They got a new coach who, funny enough, won the Euroleague back-to-back 2 years ago with Efes, a Turkish team. So he's Ergin Ataman. And
Efes. So what was this? This was a wild card team.
no, Efes is part of the...
Oh?
If I remember well, it's part of the... Yeah.
FS are usually one of the
Yeah.
12 or 14 that are usually
Okay.
there, it
Yeah.
looks like.
There's two Turkish teams that are always there. It's Efes and Fenerbahce. Yeah. So, yeah, we had a new coach. Coach is a lot of people will criticize him, saying that he's not really coaching in terms of, setting out the best plays and stuff. But he's a great coach in terms of getting the players to play for him, to want to play for him. So at the beginning of the year, he made some statements. He was always like, he doesn't think before he says stuff. So he's like, in November, when Panathinaikos was just, starting to play a bit well, but not there yet. And he was only telling the fans, if you want, we'll try to go all the way, and I will suggest you go and buy your tickets for Final Four now.
Wow.
And everyone
What
was
a
like,
statement that
What's
is.
he
I like
talking
that.
about?
I like that.
In the playoff series,
Can you buy them
against,
that early then?
Yeah, they were sold out that early.
Jeez.
Yeah, they weren't that well. What's the stadium capacity this year? Was it like 18?
Do you know what? I've been trying to look that up because it was in the
It's
Uber
over
Stadium.
20, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the Uber Stadium in
Over
Berlin,
20.
wasn't it?
Just by the
But
noise,
that-
it's over 20.
I mean, we even said it in our last one we were talking about, but I think it's worth highlighting. You're just saying they've sold that out, and we're talking like week 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And this is for whoever gets to it, it's in Berlin.
Yeah.
So there's only one person that's almost, I want to say, local to. Almost everyone else has to travel a reasonable distance.
There
to
were
get
a
there.
few people local that would have gone there. Like if something was happening in Portsmouth, basketball-wise, and we had nothing, we weren't involved, you would still go and watch the game. I know it's not going to happen.
I don't know
Every
about
time.
that. The only thing I would say is you told us that story last time about London, where those £300 tickets went for £10 in the end.
Yeah.
Which
But that's
was
because
embarrassing a bit for English basketball, not embracing that Euro
to
Cup.
be fair, yeah.
But one of the things that I absolutely love, I can't say it, Panathinaikos. I would say Pao. I just say Pao. Is their supporters are my favourite thing about the EuroLeague so far. I mean, Mark, you got some clips of, and this is why NBA players are going in interviews saying, "Oh," and when people say, "Are you intimidated? Are you intimidated by American support in the NBA?" This is what they play with. They're not going to be intimidated by someone going, let's go, or defense, are they? I love the support. I absolutely love it.
That's the kind of Eastern Europe support, I guess, isn't it?
That is outside the stadium. That's outside the stadium. Is that before the game or after the game?
I'll assume that's after the game.
Whereas in the game, it's that.
This is inside the arena, what Mark's playing now. And you know what I love about this? They're like 14 points down.
Oh, yeah.
They're 14 points down, and that's the support they're getting.
That's when you need the fans for.
Can I just do
you
one
don't need
thing?
them just to.
This is for the Pao fans right here. This is for you, bit of Irish cricket. That's for you. I was impressed. I salute you.
So,
A baby shower.
back to what I was saying earlier in terms of the coach being like over optimistic. So on the first playoff game, Panathinaikos was playing against Maccabi, Tel Aviv, the Israeli team, and we lost the first game at home when we had the home court
What's that,
advantage.
best of
five? Yeah. So losing the first game at home, you play 2 home, 2 away, and then 5th one if need at home again. Lost the first one home, we lose the home court advantage. And then he goes on the press conference at the end of the game. And he's just saying, it's just a result. We just lost game 1. And I'm just telling you now, if Panathinaikos is not in the Final Four, I won't be in Panathinaikos next year. And just walks off.
What confidence.
Literally. And everyone was like, what is he doing? What if they don't qualify? What is he going to do? Is he going to go? Yeah. And they did. They qualified. They won a game away. And then game 4 they won away, which was pretty much live or die. And came back to Waka in Athens. And
So that went
won
to
that
game
one.
5. That went to full series.
Yeah.
So the 5-game series used to be what they used to do in the NBA as well, wasn't it?
I
Before they
think,
went to games.
yes, but I think it was in the early rounds. I could be wrong there. I think it was the early rounds,
You're right.
and then it went to
Yes.
7. I might be wrong.
Yeah, so it's a model that's been
Yeah,
used quite all
You know
round.
what?
Yeah.
What's this coach called? The Pao coach?
Ataman.
Ataman. You know, that confidence that he's got reminds me of another coach who is very famous for doing that, and that is Pat Riley in the 80s. After they won the championship, he went outside in front of 100,000 LA fans and went, and his words were, I guarantee you we're going to win it again next year. And like the Lakers players were like, what did you just say? Why did you just say that? But they went and won it next year. It just reminds me of that. They're great. If that confidence is coming down from the manager, the head coach, it's
Live or die
got
by
to
the
filter
sword,
down.
Yeah, and because he's a nice character to play for. As far as I'm aware, anyway. I'm not playing for Panathinaikos, so I wouldn't know. But the players just went out and delivered, and fulfilled his promise. Even on the Final Four press conference, when the 4 teams were there the first day before he started, he was like, "Well, what can I promise now? I don't know. What I can promise is that we'll bring the 7th star to Athens."
Love
And everybody was like,
Love it.
He's still going on.
Now, it's fair to say it wasn't just the coach. Like you said, they picked up a few players. Slukas being one of them.
Slukas is pretty
There was
much
the-
the best Greek player at the moment, I'd say.
Now, when I was looking about it, the first thing that came up was Spanoulis.
Yes.
And obviously, he famously, I know your face there, just went, because he was at Pana.
He went
and then
from
went to
Panathinaikos to
Olympiacos.
Olympiacos, yeah. 2011.
This is the other way round.
Yes.
He was at
It was,
Olympiacos and then came to Panathinaikos. That's what we're saying, isn't it? Is there a short version for Olympiacos? Olimpo.
No,
Not one that he'd want to say on air.
no, they call it Thrillos, but I don't
Thrillos?
call it Thrillos because Thrillos means
we
legend.
got-
I don't call them.
Oh.
So he was.
Yeah.
Well, we've
He
got
was
you
in
recording
Thrillers
saying that
and
you
he
said
went to
that.
Pau.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Or you can say Ollie. That's what they say. Ollie.
So
yeah.
Ollie to Pau. For the English listener, we need it to be easier to say to embrace it. So Ollie
what's
to
the
Pau.
what's the 2 teams in London that have massive violence, right, all the time? Millwall and What's the other one?
Millwall is not a huge club.
I'm
gonna
I
get
didn't say
murdered now.
big time. I didn't say big. I said
Sorry.
the two teams in London.
For
That there's a massive.
Millwall's a
beef
big.
between-
I mean, there's loads. London,
Is it West Ham? Is that
London.
one?
Sorry,
Oh, no.
London. You got Arsenal, Tottenham, Millwall, West Ham,
I can't give you
Chelsea.
great-
Obviously, they're the big
Yeah.
boys.
Basically, there's a horrible rivalry between them.
It's massive. It's been going
But
on. And
I think for people that don't realise that those are the two super teams basically in Greece.
yes,
So by literally the best player in Greek basketball going from one team to the other, they literally flip the script on the power. So suddenly, in Greek basketball terms, you've just gone from 17th out of 18th in the Euroleague to being basically the
it's
best.
the equivalent, I guess,
team.
of like Luca signing for
Yep.
the Boston Celtics. I mean, is that kind of
no.
what?
I would no. I mean,
Just
they're
rivals,
powerhouses.
rivals.
Yeah, it's the rivalry. They literally go out and the fans will meet up just to beat each other. Right?
Feels like with that mentality. It's back in the 80s where it's like they're really passionate to the point it's their life.
Yeah, some people, their team is their life. And
that's what I mean. You said it in your football teams, weren't you? You said how it closely follows the football, and like you said, ball with the cheering.
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, in
full
Greece,
crowd.
it's not just it's the basketball team, it's the football team, or it's the volleyball team. It's you support Panathinaikos. That includes everything, every single sport Panathinaikos does, even if it's chess.
Yeah,
Not
I can
not
see it
even,
already.
even badminton.
Right? Do you know
If
one
there's a
thing that
PAL badminton team, we're gonna have a problem here.
yes.
I don't
Come on.
think they play badminton
Perfect.
in Greece.
Look,
They might do, but nobody knows
everything
about
that
it.
Get that an applause on there.
everything that George is telling
Greeks
me
fighting the fight.
about the Greek sport and their mentality and PAL and their mentality is just impressing me every time he speaks.
Say no to
Say no to
multiple lines, that's what they
badminton.
say. Get rid of the courts.
And the lines.
Greece
yeah.
is leading the
Yeah.
way.
I remember those lines.
But that's really, I mean, that power shift of you going from the second or worst team in the league and not being in the playoffs for, 11, 12 years?
Since 2012. So 12 years, yeah. It was massive this year. Every Pau fan was optimistic when the season started. I don't think anyone was that optimistic that we're going to go from year one and just win the whole thing. Everybody was talking about next year.
was.
Well, apart from the coach, yeah, obviously. And, they're like, okay, it's a new team. We've got 12 new players. It's not easy to get 12 new players and get them right. Just go and play. It doesn't just work
I
like
wonder
that.
if he is just exuberating confidence in his own ability, or if he's seen the squad training together going, geez, we got a team that's going to win it.
Maybe. He's got a very good coaching assistants and, team
Yeah.
all together. And it's a big organization. It's not, local league that we're talking about. It's European basketball at the best level. So they've got a proper team of coaches, proper team of physios. The athletes it's the next step after the NBA. If you don't play in the NBA, the next top level that you can go and play for is the Euroleague.
Well,
So
you can hear the support just from what we played.
Yeah.
That is
Because
better than the
ACB
NBA, isn't it?
Well, ACB, they say, is the best national
Yes.
league, don't
Yeah,
they?
they-
Because
yeah.
ACB is La Liga, like the Spanish league.
because
They
there's,
say that's the best league.
there's a lot of competition in ACP. That's why it's never
Yes.
just Real Madrid and Barcelona. You get Baskonia, you get Malaga, you get Gran Canaria was doing quite well a few years ago. So you get a lot of teams competing for the title. In Greece, it's just the two, Panathinaikos and Olympiakos.
And so that's why I think last time we were
Ollie
talking
and
about it, like Rangers and Celtic in the Scottish League, where it was one of those ones where they are basically the top two tiers. There's other teams in, but and it's fair to say, is it the last 2 seasons, Olympiakos?
Olympiakos went to the Final Four the last 2 seasons. So
Yeah.
it was their third
and
consecutive.
and the domestic league,
Yeah.
they've also won.
Oh yeah, they've annihilated us.
Yeah.
Last 2 years, it was
Even
it
this
was
year.
bad.
Like,
Not this year, last year.
the last
Yeah.
2 years. And so that's what I mean. It's literally completely flipped the script. So when you think about it this way, it's like the best team in say the UK, say it was London Lions this year. Next year, suddenly imagine it being Plymouth. and it's that massive a change. They've just suddenly.
I love the fact that you've got 2 Greek teams that are actually getting to the final 4 of the Euroleague competition, which highlights how huge that level of basketball is in Greece.
Yeah, and they do care about the sport. And I know that you're mentioning in one of your previous episodes about infrastructure here. We don't have enough arenas. We don't have enough proper courts that don't have badminton lines. So you don't get, in Greece, you get courts that the main sport is basketball and everything else will just try to work around them, not the other way around.
Get that round of applause in there right now. Greece is doing it right.
But we're talking about basketball, not tax evasion.
And hey, look, while we're on the subject of badminton, I just want to say, huge to badminton lines.
But we've said it about some shows with being outsourced. We said it last time about outdoors, and the fact in the UK we only have a sort of a window of playing outdoors, and that does have a massive impact.
That's like
on
3 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah, spread out the whole year. Yeah, if you add all the days together,
3 weeks
days
where it's not raining. We're like, all these basketball courts you gave us, it's great.
Yeah, and so that window, that makes a difference. Whereas you go to so countries like Spain, like Greece, like Turkey, you can play outside, and people are, and there's quite big sort of. There's lots and lots of 3-on-3 tournaments, and we've spoken about 3-on-2 tournaments and stuff. It's starting to pick up a bit more in the UK now, but nothing like this. A whole cultural thing.
Yeah,
when you go to the countries, it's a whole way of life.
Look, let's go to the final 4. So for our listeners who don't know who was in the final 4, that's where we got to last time, where we had, you know what, I'm going to say Olympiacos. I really like their kit. I know you're not a fan, but I actually really like their kit. Like a bit like the Barcelona kit where you
it's fine.
The Ollie
if he was
kit,
a cat, his
or the
prickles
Thriller,
or heckles would be up now.
The actual Olympiacos kit. Did I say that better?
You did.
What did I
right,
just say?
yeah.
Olympiacos.
You said it right.
Olympiacos.
You said it right.
What did I
yeah.
say?
You said Olympiacos.
Olympiacos.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying that the same thing last time.
No, last time was Olympiacos.
Olympia. Oh,
it sounded like you were falling down the
I
stairs.
need to write
as
it
you were
down
saying
phonetically. Was it Olympiacos?
Yeah.
Olympiacos.
Olympiacos.
But the K is more like almost
Paul,
like a G.
I'm not going to expect you to put the
Olympiacos.
the toning right.
Olympiacos.
Where to put the more emphasis.
It changes every time I say it.
Ollie.
Anyway, I
Ollie.
love their kit. The red and the white. I actually really like their kit. And that's
Fine.
what I would say. I really like stripes because we don't have it that much in the UK. It's rarely you see a striped kit in the UK. At the moment, the trend is this crappy one colour fading into another colour.
Gradient.
You see it all over the
gradient.
place. I prefer one colour. With the exception of the stripes, I really like that. But that's just personal preference. But yeah.
Right.
So you had Olympiacos versus Fener.
Real Madrid.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And Pao versus Fener.
Yeah.
So
That's the semi-final.
so that was the final 4. So who went first?
So the first game, before we go to the games. So the final 4 was in Berlin, as we said. Now in Berlin, there's a lot of Turkish immigrants. And Fenerbahce is a Turkish team. So a lot of Turkish people, fans or hooligans, whichever way, they stormed the stadium, the arena.
Oh, wow.
And just forced their way in.
Oh, what? You
So
like without tickets? So
Yeah,
a bit like
yeah.
Wembley, England and Wembley in the
Yes.
finals.
Yeah. Now the German police, what they did, they stopped everyone going in with tickets, and they said, until we find the people that went in, nobody else is going in. They've literally closed all the doors. So the police went in. Anyone in the arena, they checked with him. If they didn't have tickets, they got arrested.
Right. Okay.
It was like being at school.
No, it's not a school bus.
Everyone's getting
Right.
punished.
Another snowflake warning. Snowflake warning. It was like going back to papers, please.
Oh yeah.
Papers,
Wow.
please.
Where are the
Ticket,
peppers?
please. You're out. I kill you. You don't have it.
Oh no.
This is how he's going to get cancelled, isn't it?
Oh dear. Look, you've seen the Germans before. They don't muck about. Those police don't muck about. So
They did fail, though, to be fair.
They failed?
They should have been prepared.
Oh, yeah.
You get Greek fans and Turkish fans And you get Panathinaikos and Olympiacos fans. And even Fenerbahce, all those teams, their fan base is, you know, they want to dominate the other teams in a way. So even the night when Panathinaikos arrived, there were it was about 20 people, Turkish fans outside the hotel, and they was just chanting stuff. Now, Ataman, Panathinaikos coach, he's Turkish, so he could understand what they were saying. And they had a massive beef. And then eventually they just stormed the hotel.
Oh, geez.
And there's police involved. It was only 20 people or so it wasn't that bad. But still, when I saw that the first day that Panathinaikos, literally, they land in Berlin, they go there, they go to the hotel, and this happens, I'm like, that's it. We're not, the players are gone now. Or they're gonna be angry because there was a bit of confrontation with the players as well. So
But they must be used to that, though, right?
not to that extent. They're used to playing in an arena, going in and getting things thrown at them and swear. But fans will be swearing against this, you know, the players, their families, anything. But outside the game, it doesn't really happen as much anymore. It used to in the past in Greece anyway, but now there's like there's a police convoy to take the bus of Panathinaikos to the Olympiacos court and vice versa every time they play against each other. And the Germans, they're just like, yeah, that's fine, they'll be all right. Yeah, we'll just leave them alone and let's see what happens. That happened. So even on the semi-final day, as we said, the Turks stormed in. Police stopped everybody going in. They had to get them out, and then they let the people in. So the game was supposed to start at 5, and it didn't start until 5:30. So it was a delay of half an hour.
And they
or so.
went in, made sure, literally, you got to get out.
The people that were in the first place, not get out. They got arrested.
Oh, so no, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like they checked everyone in there. When everyone who's in should be in, everyone else.
Yeah. So then that's fine. That was it. There was a lot of fans that were still outside the court when the game started, when tip-off went. And that was one thing that the Euroleague, you know, the organization felt. People paid money to go and see that game.
A lot of money as well.
Yeah. And then the game starts and they're still outside, not because of their fault or so. They went there on time. They had their tickets, they had everything. And they were just not allowed in because of, you know, what happened earlier. So
What an amazing story, though. Like, I know that's crap for the German police to go and deal with it, but that, from a talking perspective about history, what an amazing story to say that something happened. It's a great talking point, is what I'm saying.
17,000 people, it says, is the capacity roughly at Uber. So it was probably around 16.5, 17,000. It was probably up there. They haven't published the exact number, probably for that reason, I'd imagine.
I don't know, maybe. Because there's 2 games though, there's usually the fans of the first 2 teams will go first. So Olympiacos and Real fans, well, Real doesn't have any fans in basketball, but that's fine.
What?
So
That is a statement, Mark, from our Euroleague expert.
there's Spanish teams that don't have a massive fan base in basketball.
Okay.
Like for the away games.
Yeah.
When they're playing home, it's full. But away, they get some people, but nowhere near.
And they also have quite small stadiums, don't they, in Spain? Their attendance-wise wasn't huge in comparison to
What's like the
some
arena
of the-
comparison?
some of the Spanish arenas, like for Barcelona, Madrid.
Barcelona.
They're not.
I said it like he did.
No, I'm like, not that again.
He
But
says
those
all these
things-
stuff like the natives, and I say it like a true Englishman.
But
Barcelona.
I remember that when we were going down the lists, they were a lot lower than some of the other teams.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones were like 11, 12,000. They were like 7.
Oh right.
And because a lot of their stadiums are in the city, like in the city, one of the things is just space more than anything else. Like anywhere, they just have smaller things. Whereas some of the biggest ones, I think, was Efes was one of the biggest ones, like 18,000 or something. Some of them are monster size stadiums, just because maybe that's the only sport. But
I'm just having a look. So
That's interesting that
16,000,
Real Madrid.
17,000.
It's interesting that you thought it would be larger.
what's the one in Madrid for the football? Is it Bernabeu?
Bernabeu, yeah. I mean,
Yes,
that's
Santiago
something
Bernabeu.
crazy,
Yeah, so I
like
went-
80,000, isn't it?
Yeah, so when I was in there, and you go in there and you're looking.
Oh, have
watching
you
the
been
game,
in there?
and
Have
you're
you?
like, Yeah. I
Like,
was in
what's
one
it
of the
like?
boxes, and you're watching it. It's all right. I wasn't. It's football. Didn't really care. I
Was
eating
it?
food?
Is it like, as far as the stadium? What is?
Oh, it was a massive outlet, and the noise was like incredible. But on the outside of it, it just literally looked like a concrete, almost like a concrete.
Oh,
wall.
right.
It's really weird. You
It's,
sort of go
it's
there.
dug in the ground, isn't it?
Oh, right. So the
It's
pitch
just
is
like
underground almost.
It's underground, sort of. Because when you see it from, I've never been, but I've seen pictures of the outside. It looks like a 3-story, 4-story building. And when you go in,
Oh, it goes
you
right
can
down.
see down, and it's like,
I guess that makes sense because you don't have to build as high up. That kind of makes sense in my head for some reason. I don't know why.
But you've got to think of these cities. All of these cities that we talk about, they're all big cities, but they're also very old cities.
Yeah.
So unlike places like, say, like the States or Australia or something, which are, in the scheme of the world and empires and stuff, relatively new, but in terms of cities and that sort of side of things, let's say anywhere in Europe. Oh, we're going to do a stadium in Paris, for example. Okay, well, where? So everything's limited, and the ones in Spain, I think, are really, really good.
I've got that Pao song stuck in my head. I got that stuck in my head. The one that we keep playing on the
one that we play when they're singing about drugs. Yeah, that one.
So what? I mean, it was a pretty confident win, I would say.
So first game, Panathinaikos Fenerbahce. Panathinaikos just went in straight. They showed their power. So first quarter, Panathinaikos was leading 22-13, so then 9-point up.
Great start. Great start.
Yeah. Half time, Fenerbahce bounced back. So the game finished 51-50 or 52-51, just 1 point different. Now, on the third quarter...
I'd love to be at those halftime talks.
That's the outside of the stadium, just to give you an idea.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It does look like...
It's just like you're driving down with a coach, and it's like...
You think that doesn't look as
giant
big?
concrete thing. It's really odd. But then you go
I
inside.
suppose that's an interesting way to consider like projects like the arenas that we've talked about, rather than just build it, dig a hole.
Well, that football one is one of the ones where they have the stadium. I believe that's the one that has the pitch that actually goes underground.
Yeah, and it's like got its own greenhouse underground.
Yeah,
That's that
it does.
one, is it?
I think it's that
Yeah, I
one.
think you're right, actually.
I think it's the Real Madrid
It
one.
makes sense
I
that
don't
they
really
go
give a fuck,
down,
but-
because if they did it normally on normal ground, it might be so high. Imagine the construction of that, whereas you've got...
Yeah.
Feels like the foundations to support it, if you go down, would be stronger. I don't know. I'm not you're an engineer. You would know.
But look, funny story on that was that the guy was going around, and I was really interested in the architecture, and they go, no, this is that. And I was like, wow, you're supporting all this. They got the box there. And then they started talking about football players, and I'm like, They're like, oh, it's in this guy here, and this is
Here's
the locker room there, and that's
Ronaldo! And you're like...
so-and-so's jersey. And I'm like, okay. And he was looking at me like as if I go, well, I'd be impressed. And I was like, I just went, I don't like football. And the guy just literally looks at me like, you're dead to me, and then just refused to acknowledge
That's
me
his
for the
life.
rest of the
You
tour.
basically said your life is nothing to me. Was what you said. You're like, what did you make this wall from? And he's
But it
like,
was just
look,
like-
I've got a,
It's like, I've no interest. There's people all curious, like, oh, can I have a photo
I've
next
got a
to you? It's like,
Zidane shirt here. Would you like a picture of it? And you're like, no. What was this wall made of? Was it brick?
yeah, they were just like, oh, do you want a photo in the crowd and stuff? I'm like, no, you're right. But do you want about it? No, I'm good.
No.
I'm okay. I've seen it. It's great. Like, yeah, nice. Well done. Good.
Where's the buffet?
How's your football? Yeah. So, any good? Oh, man, their food was unbelievable. They brought that stuff out. It's like, keep it
If you're in a
coming.
box, box in one of the largest stadiums in the world, it's kind of...
They were sponsoring an event for the company I was working for, and we were doing something, and they went, oh, as this whole thing, you get to go for that the evening. And we're like, oh, yeah, okay, you coming on? I was like, something doing it.
Something
And I'm
to
just there
do.
like, don't even
That's
remember
the
who they were
crowd he
playing. I have
rolls
no interest.
with. Something to
But-
do.
The crowds and everything going, if you think, go to Madrid, it's a very compressed city. It's a European city. Getting in, getting out, all those sort of things, it's all controlled. That's the why it was sticking in my head. Like George said, everything's ferried. You know where crowds and crowds of people, but you know where you're going. And then, we had a whole little thing that we're going up. But you could see all these people. They were absolutely fine. You think, I wouldn't have let people who knowingly there was going to be an issue, the Germans dropped the ball there for sure if they just let them just let the fans get there.
I think they did it deliberately so they could get their police in and go, right, FIFA was some practice.
Oh, no.
They had police dogs behind in the
course
court
they do, mate.
after that.
Of course they do.
They did it initially, and then they had the dogs, and you could hear the dogs through the TV when they were barking.
Paul went to go and stroke a drug dog when we went through the thing in Canada. Do you remember?
Did I?
Yeah. We came off the plane.
Where's
and
this?
The guys
Canada?
Are there. In Canada, when we went
Oh,
out
yeah.
there, and we were walking through, and as we were there, the guy was standing there with the drug dog.
Hello,
whatever.
puppy.
Yeah. And the guy's like, do not approach the dog, boys. Like, keep walking on or something. We're like, oh God. The guy's told us off. Like, do we now look suspicious because we've just come off an international flight and we went to go and acknowledge his dog, and now they're saying don't look at the dog and keep walking, and we're like,
That was a
Yeah,
great
not-
flight. So that flight in particular that we were on to go to Canada, we were in the air were we? I think we might have been, were we in the air when it went from 1999 to 2000? So everyone was worried that all the planes were just going to fall from the sky. So
just crash.
we were like the only people on that plane flying into, I don't know, where were we going? Calgary?
it was an early flight. So when we went, yeah, that's right. So when we were going over, it was when it ticked over midnight. at
Something
some
like
point
that.
during the plane. We're like,
And we got to the hotel and
maybe not
everyone
good.
was worried that all the hotels were going to blow up and all that rubbish, whatever it was. And we had the entire hotel to ourselves. We got there and the kitchen staff were there waiting, and they were like, we're just here for you. So just what would you like? And we can go
and
home.
what did you
And
think?
there's no charge because the computers are down.
Yeah, but what did he ask for?
No, look, don't make me out to be a muppet. This was only
No,
on
no.
the first night.
First night, what did he? We both did it.
Wise?
Yeah, because they were like, the kitchen's closed, but we can go and make some stuff for you and put something together.
A normal person will ask for a burger.
I did.
Now,
I
when
did
we're
the
talking about
second
Paul,
night.
Yeah, but we
I
like,
felt sorry for him. I was like, look, I won't take up your
a
time.
crampet.
no. Have you got any Mars bars? And the guy's like, no, they might have some in the gas station opposite. So we just landed there and were being a bit naive, shall we say. And I think it was minus 19 outside. So it was cold.
Nah, mate, it's more than that. I think it was like minus 30 because I bought some beers from that garage and I just left them outside for like 5 minutes and they were done.
Yeah, I know you did. Because you would climb over my bed to get them and then climb back over my bed, bringing the snow in with you and just leaving it to melt.
Dear.
But
In
we
classic Paul style.
Yeah, so we would go, okay, we'll just walk over to, and where's this petrol station? And it was just over there. We're like, oh, okay, it's just, just walk across the
30-second
forecourt.
walk, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're just going to walk out there. And the guy's like, no, you got to like wear your coats and stuff. We're like,
We're just like,
just
look, we're from
run
England.
over there.
It's cold and wet all the time. This will be fine.
Got over there and it's
This is
like,
cold.
God damn
This
it,
is
it's
cold.
freezing. And the guy's looking at us
Hey,
like,
no, when we walked back, he's like, you all right, lads? Yeah. Why, mate?
yeah, it was fine. It's like we got all these Mars bars. We just got to
I
clutch
think I
these
did
Mars
say
bars.
to him, look, it'd be really nice. Could you get me a bowl of tuna as well? Give me a bowl of tuna, packet of crisps. I'm done. You can go home.
And he came out of a tuna steak. So I was
So
like,
you had tuna and a Mars bar.
Tuna,
Yeah,
crisps, and a Mars bar
crisps.
and a beer.
and then
First
the
night
guys
in
literally for
Canada.
the rest of that week,
He's
they
like,
were
you
like,
legends. What do you want, a burger? I'm like, yep, thank you, sir.
do you want your Mars bar now? Like, yeah, we'll go get one.
He was great. We actually ended up in a bar with him a few nights, and
That was the chef, wasn't it?
He said,
Yeah.
right, he was teaching us about ice hockey. We've gone way off tangent here. He
Yeah.
was teaching us about ice hockey, and we were playing pool with him a few times, and like I did a snooker, and he was like, look, there's one thing you need to learn in Canada. If you do that move, we're going to punch you in the face. And it's like, really? And he goes, yeah, you try to hit the shot, you don't hit it, but you don't do all this defensive crap in here. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it ended up like he was teaching us how to do the ice hockey, pulling the jerseys off and beat people up.
yeah. To grab it, to pull it over, to give him the
He
old
was a
digs.
huge ice hockey fan. Anyway, look, we got right off tangent. George was in the second half, Pao versus
Fenner. So second half started.
52-50.
No, it was, I was wrong. Sorry. 38-36 first half finish for Pao. So 2 points up. Second half continued at the same pace. They were really close. The closest they got was a point different, which was 52-51. Now, Fener has not led the game throughout.
That's huge.
Since the beginning. And that was the pivotal point that everybody thought, Fener's going to go up now. Because they started playing well. And it's not an insignificant team. They've got good players. They've got a good coach. And Panathinaikos just scored a 3 on the next offense. And that was it. It's like basically Fener players were like, we just can't do it.
Sorry. Snowflake warning.
Last quarter, third quarter was 18-14 for Pau, and the last quarter was 17-7.
Oh, well.
So they've outscored.
Can I ask you,
massively.
if Fener had gone in front, do you think this would be a different conversation? Because when teams are trying to come back and back and back, and they might tie it, or they might just be behind by 1 point or 2 points. When you go in front, that is more of a dagger.
I don't know. Maybe. You might be right there. If they had gone front, things could have gone differently. But
they didn't.
They didn't. So final score 73-57 for Pau. And
You're a happy
in the
boy.
Final,
You're a happy boy.
Man, I couldn't believe it. I was at the pub and I just got pissed because
So you're talking about that score. It's not a high score, is it?
No, but this is not abnormal for Europe. This is a normal score.
That's what I wanted you to explain, because it's
very good defense in Euroleague. Really good defense.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I wanted to highlight, because sometimes you hear that and you think, wow, that's not a high score.
The 57 Fener scored. That's low for Euroleague teams, but that shows how well Pau played on defense.
Yeah.
And we have a young fella, Greek young fella, Kalaitzakis. Don't try to say the name. His name is Panayotis Kalaitzakis. Yeah. So
that was fluid.
Yeah.
Do it again.
He would have to say it again. Say it again.
So PK. That's what they call him in the team. Yeah.
PK.
Oh, no, we can get on board with that.
PK's a legend.
Yeah. So he played really, really good defense on the third quarter and the fourth, and that's when Panathinaikos just escaped and won the game.
Is he new?
He's not new. He was in the team last year. So there was only 2 people from last year that experienced, the bottom. And now they're in the top of the world. So it's Kalaitzakis and a Lithuanian guy, Marius Grigonis. They're the only 2 that stayed from last year.
Oh, man. That must be a great feeling. If you stayed and you've been in the dregs at the bottom, and now living the dream.
Can I just say one thing? And this was one of the things that really stuck out to me. When you are playing a team that scored 57 points, with the exception of 1 point, they've scored 14 points against you over the aggregate of all 4 quarters. That's significant defense. If we're talking layups, we're talking 7 layups a quarter. I'm sure there's some threes in there. So we're talking maybe 5 or 6 baskets a quarter that someone's scoring you. That says to me, absolute top-notch, world-class defense.
And this is the magic of the Final Four, let's say. It's one game.
Yeah.
If you play bad, you play bad, and that's it. You don't get second chances. One of their players, Scotty Wilbekin, he's American. He's a decent player. I don't like him personally.
Why
but
not?
He's not a likable person. I think he's overestimated anyway. He didn't do well at all. I think his PIR was -8. His contribution towards the game. So
that is my favourite stat, by the way.
Yeah.
Contribution is my favourite stat. I love it when you have players and they're always in the plus. I love those guys.
Yeah, because it doesn't just count points. It's not who scores points on.
Yeah.
You get people to score points, you get people for the rebounds, you get people for defense, deflections and stuff.
Love that. Love that stat.
So, that was it, the first game. Panathinaikos was in the final for the first year since 2011, when we last won it.
Yeah.
So,
good
by the way, an
13
interesting
years.
stat. Panathinaikos has been in 7 Euroleague Finals, and they won all 7. when they qualify for the final, they have always won the,
Well, hang on.
the
So
Euroleague.
before we get there, no spoilers. But
I think you've spoiled it in the beginning of the episode.
that is a.
So at that point, it was when they got to the last 6 finals,
Yeah.
they won all 6.
So I wanted to go back on something you said. I just wanted to clarify in my mind because you were talking about 5-game series before.
that was the playoffs.
Is it always 5 games all the way through the playoffs until the final 4? Or does it go
No,
up to
it's
7 or is it always
No,
5?
no. It's best of 5.
Best of 5, okay.
There's only one best of 5 series. When the regular season finishes and the top 8 teams
Yeah.
get seeded.
Yeah.
So that's when there's the playoffs, the best of 5
Okay,
series.
cool. Best of 5 and then final 4.
Whoever qualifies from those 4.
So
pairs.
final 4 is game 5.
No.
What? Yeah.
So no.
So when you get to the final 4, it's 1 game. So
with that mentality,
So it's a game 5 game. That's
Yeah,
what I meant.
yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
mean
yeah.
5 games. It's a game.
Well, it's a
5.
knockout game. You can call it a
Yeah,
knockout
yeah.
game. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the
right.
saying we always say. It's a game 7 game or a game game 5 game in this instance. So let's go on to the
So the other semi-final, which followed after the Panathinaikos game, was Real Madrid.
versus Oli. Now I knew the result and I was so rooting for them. I was so rooting for Olympiacos because of our conversation last time. It was like, how amazing would it be to have a Greek final? And in my mind, I'm like, if this is a Greek final, I'm going out with George or I'm coming around your house and we're watching this because this is going to be entertaining. So I was really rooting them.
100%. That would be good.
It wasn't though. It was not a Greek final. Because
How
Olympiacos got
happy is saying
smashed.
that?
You got? Are you being biased when you say this?
Just slightly, yeah, maybe. Bear in mind, Olympiacos versus Real Madrid was last year's final.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, I showed you the video
Yeah.
last time. Olympiacos was up pretty much the whole game. Olympiacos were playing
And there
really
was that
good last
prayer
year.
that you got really threw it up very high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had Slukas, our best player, was playing for Olympiacos last year. They had Sasha Vezenkov, who plays for the Kings now. He hasn't got a role yet, but he's a good player. He's really, really good. He won the MVP award last year for Euroleague. So this year, everybody was like, right, game on. It's a rematch of last year's final. And Olympiacos will want to take
I
revenge for
wondered
losing the
if
title.
last year would inspire them to make that step.
Yeah. No, it didn't. Because on the first quarter, Real Madrid scored 28 points against 10 of Olympiacos.
I mean, that's a hammer blow, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's a
so
hammer.
that's literally 18 points difference just in the first 10 minutes. The rest of the game, Olympiacos bounced back. Like they pretty much scored equal points, even outscored Real Madrid, but only slightly. So final result, 87-76 for Real Madrid.
First quarter killed them.
Yeah, that was it. That first quarter, that Real Madrid went in and it was like bam, 3-point, bam, assist, dunk, everything. They were playing. They were shooting in the first 7 seconds, or they were taking the shots or layups or anything in the first 7 seconds of their offense. Now, bear in mind, you get 24 seconds, but they were just flash, go for it, like just go 3-point, layup, alley-oop, everything, and they scored those 28 points. Olympiacos didn't manage to bounce back. They didn't manage to answer that. And that was it. That's
5
how the game.
baskets in a quarter. Again, it highlights Real Madrid's defense to me. 5 baskets in a quarter. You're letting someone score a basket every 2 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I haven't seen the stats whether they've scored anything.
Again, if there's 2 threes in there, okay, it's 4 baskets.
maybe, yeah. But obviously, in the first quarter, you might not get as many fouls. I guess you don't go to the bonus too often, too soon.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'll be honest, I was disappointed not to see Olympiacos get into the final because I love their kit.
but you love the Pao fans,
And
more.
I love the Pao fans. I love their kit. And I just wanted that Greek clash in the final. That's what you'd call it, the Greek clash.
I haven't looked up. Has there been that in the final?
Have you ever had
No,
two
I
countries?
just-
must have 2 countries going against each
We've
other.
played against each other in a
No,
semi-final.
in a final.
Oh yeah, there has been.
Who would?
Has
What
it?
country would that be?
I think if there was, do you know what? I might be wrong, but if there was one, it would have been Real against Barcelona.
I was going to say it's Spain, isn't it? Yeah.
I know they've played in the semi-final for
Did
sure.
anyone
Real
turn up
Barcelona.
to the final? They're like, no fans. You got no fans.
The semi-final in London was Real Barcelona.
Got no ground.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about there? No one knows what. Someone will know what I'm talking about there.
I didn't even hear. I'm just ignoring him. No, so.
Welcome to my world, George.
Someone will know what I'm referring to there. Right.
But the thing is, those games, they were the pace of those games. I think we haven't sort of touched on that too much. But even though that game was held to a relatively low score, the pace of the game was not. It wasn't like a slow game or anything, was it?
Which one? The Real Olympiacos?
The Real game, yeah. But all of them, all of the games, I actually thought they were. I had to watch those ones back, just to see. But were they? Were they, I won't say pensive in the games, but no, they were absolutely going for it. Real Madrid's game, they were absolutely hammering them when they were going against Fener. Olympiacos, sorry.
Ole!
Yeah, so no, it's the final four. You want to go to the final. Everybody will just go in and just do their best. Sometimes your best is not enough. Olympiacos.
So my question was,
Look at his little face. He's loving it.
Is that the pace? Is that the pace that a lot of those games are played throughout the Euroleague, do you think? Or do you think it, like with all playoffs, once you get to Final Four, there's another step change?
The big games, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from the beginning of the season, so the first game for Panathinaikos and Olympiacos this season was against each other. They did all right. They went to extra time, funny enough, and Olympiacos won. Your team's not ready for that intensity, that level on the first game of the season, are they? They're not going to... I mean,
not if you just had a rebuild.
Yeah, especially if you had 12 new players, yeah. So later on in the season...
And a rivalry
games,
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive.
The big games are played in that intensity. You might see games that are played, there's more defense, there's more, beating each other up, the players pretty much, too many fouls, too many players kicked out and stuff. But every game matters.
Yeah, and you said that last podcast as well. The one thing that really stands out for me with the EuroLeague that I've seen, George, correct me if I'm wrong. This is just my interpretation on it. When you look at the BBL, a lot of time, maybe in the English game, I see run and gun. See that a lot, run and gun.
Yeah.
When I look at the EuroLeague, I think the word precision is what would come into mind. It's very precise movement. There's a lot of passing the ball around, waiting for the right shot.
There's thinking basketball. That's what it is, or what I call
Thinking
it. Proper
basketball.
Yeah. There's rules. There's passing game. You don't just grab the ball. Let's go. Let's shoot a 3-pointer. If you get the right opportunity and you got the right player, like Kendrick Nunn this year, he had one of the things that worked well for him and Ataman, the coach. Ataman gave him the freedom to do. If you got the shot, if you think you got it, take it. I don't expect you to follow all the rules in a way. Mike James has that freedom in Monaco, the leading scorer of all-time, leading scorer of EuroLeague. So some players, they'll just do the run and gun situation, but the majority of players, the majority of teams, they'll just follow the coach's plan. Olympiacos, for example, is a coach's team. You can't deviate.
And you follow the coach's team. He's running the clock. He's going to use the clock. A bit like what Matt Shaw last week saying. He's going to use every single second to his advantage. But that's what I see with the EuroLeague. And I'm really attracted to that style of basketball.
Yeah, there was a couple of plays and it was ball gets up the court and you think, has anyone bounced that ball yet? Has anyone dribbled it? It's like pass.
But
They're
waiting for the right shot as well. That's what I like about
swing, move,
penetration,
moving.
kick it out, bam, move, and all of a sudden, open shot. I just love that basketball.
But there's a lot of basketball that goes on, and you think they haven't done anything or taken a shot yet. Well, hang on, there's
a lot of
10, 15
seconds
seconds
that you don't see. There's a lot of movement all the way around.
But there's still like 10 seconds on the shot clock left, and you think, wow, it feels like I've watched like 3 plays.
I could be wrong if I say this,
in-
but I want to say
you get a lot of hero ball in
purist
some-
basketball. That's what I felt when I was watching the EuroLeague. It felt like purist basketball. This is just my opinion on it. And the worst kind of basketball would be like NBA All-Star. That's the worst.
Yep.
And then up there, right at the top, would be this purist EuroLeague basketball. I really like it.
There are plays. You feel that the coach has a big impact on the game. There's a strategy to playing people, and there's more than just here's the ball, you've got talent, off you go. There's a whole thing going on there.
Yeah, definitely. And
Like it.
that's the main difference. That's why I don't watch the NBA. I do enjoy watching the highlights of the finals and stuff, but sitting down to watch the whole game, I can't, because I'm used to this kind of basketball. I know, obviously, I'm not going to argue that the NBA is the top league in the world, but the way they play, I personally don't enjoy it.
The NBA is the most entertaining league in the world,
that,
maybe.
yeah.
That's the way you could put it, because it leans on the entertainment, whereas if you're going pure sport, this is the sport.
I would say the NBA's got the best marketing in the world as well. Easy.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Can I make a request? You don't have to do this if you don't want to. When George talks about the final, can we play some of the arena sounds as he's talking about the final?
Yep.
You mean
He's now about to talk about the final.
Go on, then.
Right, so the final was just added it later.
Hang on, this is a bit of Irish cricket's EuroLeague final.
Cup of sugar, that is. But anyway. So final, EuroLeague final 2024, Real Madrid against Panathinaikos. Real Madrid won it last year, so they were trying to do a back-to-back.
So on paper, who wins this game?
Real Madrid lost 7 games this season out of 34. So they've literally... They were the best team all year round, pretty much, apart from the final. Panathinaikos finished second in the regular season. We lost 12 games, 11, something like that. So yeah, Real Madrid was the favorite. They were trying to get the back-to-back title because every time they've won the EuroLeague, they haven't managed to win it again the year after. So that was their ultimate ambition. Now they go into the game same way they do with Olympiacos.
Listen to that crowd.
Just put the full game on and just let them sing. So they go into the game same way they did with Olympiacos. They just run and gun, score, shoot, 7-second offense. They scored 36 points in the first quarter. Now against Olympiacos, they scored 28, so they've literally scored even more against Panathinaikos. The main difference was that Panathinaikos scored as well. We scored 25, so even though we were down by 11 points in the first quarter, we had them fuel and energy to, when I was watching the game, I thought, this is not good. It's going to be the same situation as Olympiacos. Yeah. And then the second half came in.
Well, they were down by, I want to say, when I looked, they were down by 14.
The highest difference was 14, at some point.
And the one thing I was really impressed by
was the fans
and
singing.
I think, did you send me the clip? Someone sent me the clip, and I was like, wow, you're down by 14 and that's the support you're doing? Jeez.
But that's when you want your fans. You don't want the fans to celebrate when you win. You want them to push you to the win. So that's the beauty of this sport. That's the beauty of European basketball. So second quarter, Panathinaikos played better. We scored 24 second quarter.
What was
they scored
halftime?
18.
Sorry.
So halftime, I have to do my calculations now because I forgot to put the scores down.
Oh, I messed you up.
That's right. I do this for a living, mate.
You do this for a living.
So it was 54-49.
Down by 5.
Yeah. So that's a close game compared to minus 11 from the first quarter. Now third quarter comes in. low score on both sides pretty much. Panathinaikos outscores Real, and they go up front for the first time in the game.
It's like getting in front, isn't it?
There you go. Kendrick Nunn has the ball. He tries to go in for a layup. He just gets confused in a way, misses he goes for a pass that gets deflected. Jerian Grant picks the ball, gives it to Lesor out, who's standing on the 3-point line. Now he's not shooting 3-pointers. And he's just standing there thinking like, what shall I do? And then Kendrick Nunn just goes next to him, grabs the ball, turns around, 3 points. Panathinaikos is up. The court has gone mental. Like their fans, they're just erupted.
Do we have that moment?
There is actually a video somewhere. Let's just have a look.
There you go.
All right, so yeah, that's the moment that. So yeah, the fans literally
I love it.
went nuts over there. And that was the point when Panathinaikos took the lead. So after that moment, they're like, we've got them, because Real Madrid was considered unbeatable by pretty much everyone. When Panathinaikos went up, the players really believed it, and they just went for every ball, every shot, every defense, everything. Everyone played really well. Obviously, Kostas Sloukas scored 24 points. He literally missed one free throw. He had 100% on 2-pointers.
Oh, God, look at Mr.
100%
Free
on
throw.
3-pointers.
He's going, yeah, that's my player.
He missed one free throw,
Nice.
and that was it. Then Kendrick Nunn scored 21. Matthias Lesor, who was pretty much the only tall man that Panathinaikos had all year round. We do have 3 centers, obviously, but one of them is Giannis' brother, Kostas Antetokounmpo. He's young. He's got potential, but he's not there yet. And another fella, which is not at the level yet either. So Lesor was playing on his own pretty much the whole year. And we're talking about someone that's not 7-8 feet tall or whatever, but he's strong. He wants to play. He wants to win. And he had to play against the best center of Europe. Well, 2 of the best centers. Eddie Tavares, your friend, Fast Eddie from last time.
It's Fast Eddie.
And Poiret, who's a French center. And he was in the NBA a year ago, 2 years ago, I think. Anyway, so they've all played brilliant. Sloukas was brilliant. Nunn was brilliant. Lesor was brilliant. And then Vildoza, who hasn't played much for Panathinaikos this year for many and different reasons. He came in and he played brilliant defense on Campazzo, who's Real Madrid's best point guard. We had Hernan Gomez, who played really well, and Mitoglu, our 4 players. Papapetrou, our main 3. Kalaitzakis again, PK. He played brilliant defense on the 3rd and 4th quarter. Everybody was brilliant. And the 4th quarter, Panathinaikos literally just annihilated them. They scored 31 against 19 of Real Madrid. Final score 18-95 for Panathinaikos, 15 points up. Now they were 14 down, if you remember. So that was literally a 29-point deficit that they've covered.
Well, yeah, I was going to say in the 6th minute, it was 71-73 with 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
It stayed like that the whole time,
Yeah,
didn't it? It wasn't just like flattened
No.
through.
It was a close game. When I say Panathinaikos players believed it, we're talking about they just realized that we can match this team. They're not better than us. We want it more. We're going to go out there and get it. And on the very, 6 minutes, he said, 5 minutes before the end, that's when Mitoglu scored. Lesor got his 4th foul, our main center, so he had to get out. And Mitoglu went in to cover. Now, he's a 4-man, and he was playing in the center position against a bloke that's 220 and the best center in Europe. And Tavares scored a couple of baskets, but Mitoglu can shoot 3s. That's the difference. Tavares won't go out of the paint.
No.
And on the next offense, Mitoglu gets the ball. Tavares is not following. He just shots a 3-pointer, goes in. And Panathinaikos kept, opening the score. Real Madrid was just shooting bricks on the other side. They had open shots that they couldn't score. Are they not good players? They're brilliant players. It was the point that they probably lost it. They're like, whatever we do, they just come back. It's like the Rocky movie. What was it?
You
with
know
them?
what? It's weird you say
Ivan
that. I was
Drago.
thinking about Rocky 4.
Yeah.
And do you know...
No, it's in the third one with Van Drago.
No,
If he
that's
dies,
Rocky
he
4.
dies.
That's Rocky
Oh,
4.
okay, yeah.
But when you were talking, that
I will
popped in my
break you.
mind. That film popped in my mind when you said Olympiacos. Sorry, Pau finally got that basket to take the lead. The bit that pops in my mind from the Rocky 4 is when Rocky hits, was it Dragos or something?
Drago.
Ivan
Drago.
Drago.
Ivan.
And the commentator goes, "The Russian's cut. He's cut." Remember that bit?
Yeah.
And that's what popped in my mind. Really weird that you just picked up a film that I was thinking about. But yeah, in that moment, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. And as we said, final score, Panathinaikos won by 15. The last couple of minutes, Panathinaikos was up by 10 or 12 or whatever, and everybody knew that the game's finished pretty much. They started celebrating on the bench, the coaching staff and the other players. The players inside the court were just you can see that they had that.
They're like, "Man, we're about to do this."
Smile, like, what have we done? And on the very last minute, a few players crashed. Lesort, who made an interview actually at the end, and he's a brilliant guy. Like, you can tell that he's a really nice person as well, aside from a brilliant player. And one of the interviews they did of him on the locker room, because he had a lot of criticism throughout the year. He's not the tallest person. He is obviously 206 or something. Can't remember exactly. But everybody was
tiny.
Yeah. Everybody, not everybody. Some reporters were like, "Oh, Lesort's not good enough for a EuroLeague competing team. He's a Eurocup player. If anything, he's just literally slagging him off through the whole year." Not the majority, but a few reporters were doing that. Now, in the final, after we won, he was doing an interview when they're celebrating, the champagne just running everywhere, and everybody's like, they don't care what they say at that point. You wouldn't. And Lesort was like, "Well, apparently, I wasn't good enough to be a EuroLeague player. I wasn't good enough to play in a competing team. What are you going to say now?" Obviously, he was swearing when he was saying that, but he was like, "Do you know what? Good for him. Good for him that he came out." And he's from Martinique, which is an island somewhere. He's French officially. I think it's part of kind of situation of.
It's not near not the British Virgin Islands. It's around that side, isn't it? Where you got Saint Martin and stuff,
Yeah.
where you go around the Caribbean and they do all the cruises around.
Might be, yeah. So he had a really tough upbringing. He said he's the first person from his home country to win such a trophy. So, it's massive.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Martinique is the place where they set Death in Paradise, that TV show, I believe.
But it's a release
Good to know.
of
Emotions.
everything,
Yeah.
all in that one
Yeah.
moment. You've been
Lesort
talking crap
crashed.
to me all year, and now I've won it.
Yeah.
Screw you, kind of thing. Isn't
When the game finished, Lesort was sitting under the basket with the ball in his arms, crying like a baby. Literally, his tears were pouring down. And you, as a Pau fan, when we won, I was literally pretty much crying because I just couldn't believe it.
Confession.
And all these years, just waiting. Since I remember the 2011 title we won. Fortunately, I was old enough to remember it. But since then, we got close to go to the Final Four, but we didn't. 2012, we went to the Final Four, but that's a different story. Since that, Panathinaikos didn't even reach the Final Four. So, every year you're like, okay, that's it, that's fine, this is gone. And then last year, we knew there was, for the first time in many years, last year, I'm like, no, Panathinaikos is playing, I'm not going to watch it because there's no point watching it. Because the team was that bad.
Was there any point that you thought maybe I should start supporting Olympiacos?
Never.
Never.
Do you know what? I actually said this. It was a joke when I was younger. I said, I will switch teams and I will become an Olympiacos supporter.
Wow.
5 minutes before I die.
Oh.
So when I die, there's one less Olympiacos supporter.
Wow. Hey, if Fener had beaten Pau and Olympiacos had beaten Real Madrid, would you have supported Ollie?
No.
Why not? That's what I don't get.
No.
Wouldn't you rather a Greek team win than another team?
No.
Why not?
Sorry.
Is
No.
the rivalry is that passionate and deep?
My dad would. My late granddad would. He was always telling me, like, you have to be a fan, not a hooligan. I'm not a hooligan. I'm not going around beating people or throwing stuff, but my team is Panathinaikos. I will support. My team is Panathinaikos and I hate Olympiacos. So, sorry for the Olympiacos fans, if there's any that listen to the podcast, but I can, and I'm pretty sure they're the same.
I'm
They
sure
want
there's
support.
not anymore, George. Thanks.
What if there another team emerged in the Greek league that was able to then get that opportunity and went to Euroleague? You know, we're being hypothetical here. So it was another team.
Maybe. Yeah. It's Olympiacos the main thing.
Santorini.
Specifically, yeah.
Santorini have a team.
Did you literally just say the only place you know in Greece? So yeah, it's Olympiacos. It's a lot of Panathinaikos fans they declare themselves. One of our presidents that was of the that built the dynasty of Panathinaikos. He was saying, "I'm not a Panathinaikos supporter. I'm an anti-Olympiacos supporter." Obviously, he was a Panathinaikos supporter, but it's just to emphasize how much they don't support. They don't want Olympiacos to win anything. Also.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that situation, what you said, I would support.
What if Cyprus were
Wow.
What if Cyprus were in there? Then?
I know that will never happen.
No,
so-
I'm saying. I know. This is hypothetical, but then
You know, in
what?
2004, when Greece went to the Euro, the football Euro, and they won it, yeah, that was 1 in a billion to happen. Cyprus sending a team to the Euroleague final,
Yeah.
there is no chance. Like, not 1 in a trillion or quadrillion or anything. There is literally no chance.
Gazillion.
No, it's interesting. I mean,
Quasi-
we've had it with say the London Lions when they were in the Euroleagues, and they were playing. We want them to do well. We don't necessarily support them, but we'd like them to do well because they're from
Who's
our
this?
geography. So we like when London Lions were in Eurobasket, they were doing well in
Well, it's
the
like the
tournament.
Solent Kestrels. We
You
want them to do
want
well,
them to
don't
do
we? We watch those games. I want them to do well. But you know what? It's interesting because basketball in the UK, you have the rivalry, but I don't. This is just from what we see. We haven't got a BBL club down here, so it might be different if we did. But I want those guys to do well, and the guys near these teams near us. I hope they do well.
The crowds here aren't.
If you go
big.
football, it's a different story. Different story. But you guys
But that's
have
the
that
thing.
over there.
In Greece, it doesn't matter what sport you play, whether it's basketball or football or handball or volleyball or water polo or anything. Do you know
Not
what?
badminton.
Last
Tennis.
week, Olympiacos was playing. I don't know if you know about that, but it was playing in the final of Conference League. You know, the football equivalent instead. You know, Champions League, Europa League, Conference
Yeah.
League.
It's football, George. I have no.
That's
interest.
fine. It's the third top European cup, let's say, in Europe.
Okay.
And they
It's
were in
one
the
no one
final.
cares about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know. Olympiacos fans too,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's a different story.
You
Anyway,
care about it if you're in it.
they won, unfortunately. Now, if they had lost, there would have been Panathinaikos fans and AK Athens fans and PAOK fans, you know, the other big teams in Greece. Their fans would be out in the streets celebrating
That
that they
lost.
lost. It's that insane, yeah. We're talking about that much rivalry.
So it's a deep-seated
Yeah,
rivalry.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
So
Can I
yeah,
throw something at you? Real Madrid, they won beating Ollie in the final with what
last year?
they were behind a lot and they threw up a prayer.
Yeah.
So this year they were in front and then Pao came back and took the lead. Could you
Right, you're mixing teams there. You just started with Real Madrid and Olympiacos, and then you said Pau.
what did I say? So Real Madrid threw up the prayer against
That was
Ollie
last year.
year.
Yeah.
And then this year you're playing Pau and they were in
No.
front and they threw that away again in the final. So that's 2 finals in a row.
No. Real Madrid won last year. Real Madrid started really well this year, but they lost.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's 2 finals in a row. I know they won last year, but it's 2 finals in a row where they arguably could have lost. Both of them. They could have lost 2 finals in a row.
What
Well,
he's
they
saying
lost
is,
this year's final, yeah.
But last
they
year,
could have
last-
lost.
it was
Yeah,
a
yeah, they
rare
could
that
have.
won it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. Look, Olympiacos was the better team last year. I'm not.
and why is that? Because the star player on Olympiacos
Because
is now playing
of
for Pau.
Slukas, because of Vezenkov, they got a very well coached team. They have a big fella, Mustafa Fall. He's again 220 or something. They had a really good, working well together team, and they finished first in the regular season. Now it's another interesting stat. Whoever finishes first,
I'll be the judge of that.
yeah. So they've started this regular season, everyone plays against everybody in 2016. Since then, before that it was groups and playoffs and stuff like that. Since then, anyone that's finished first on the regular season has not
Oh, wow.
won the Euroleague.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
I know it.
So history
Okay.
goes against you.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like this year, Real Madrid, 7 losses only in the whole year.
And it's not like they didn't get
swept
to the
players.
final, is it?
No, they swept the playoff series. They just went to the final, just annihilated the Olympiacos in the semi-final. Went to the final, they've lost against the better
Wow.
team.
Mark had a great
So-
stat about the final
Well, it was
itself.
about those. As you were saying, it's tied with the 5th largest winning comeback in any Final Four game since 2002. And Panathinaikos themselves have never come back from a deficit larger than 7 points in a Final Four game before Sunday. But ever. They've never come back from a deficit larger than 7 points.
I think this is the first time that they were
their history.
they were losing by that. Yeah,
That's,
yeah, because they go in
that's
usually and they're like, right,
3-4
it's-
points
yeah,
or something.
yeah.
So once they've gone past 7, they've never come back from that ever.
And the years that Panathinaikos won, apart from 2002, which they
Yeah.
were the underdog,
And that was the other winning comeback game since 2002.
Yeah,
That's
against
the one they
Bologna,
reference. Yeah.
we were playing Bologna in the home court. The Final Four was in Bologna's home
I
court.
like the fact you did we, assuming that Paul and I are going to be behind.
No, I'm saying me and
Him and his
Panathinaikos.
fans. Can I just say
Mate,
that
I was there at the age of 14. I wasn't, but
this symbol, I've just put 2 and 2 together. This symbol here, that's pronounced like P in the UK. I'm looking at your shirt, like it's an N, but do you say that as in P? That would make sense. Pao,
did you not do maths at school?
as pi.
Yeah, yeah. The reason it's called pi is because in Greek it's called B.
Okay.
So B, A, O,
Pao.
B, alpha, O, Pao.
I love the fact on your shirt you got, it also has 1908. So that club's been around
That's
for
the
over 100
club's
years.
formation,
Yeah.
not the basketball club.
Oh,
Panathinaikos as a club was formed in 1908. It's the football club, the football department that started in 1908. I don't know when the basketball started. I'm not going to lie.
1908.
It
You're
wasn't.
going to have to get a new shirt, George. I've just realised that's only got 6 stars
yes,
on it.
I'm already on it. I'm already arranged. Yeah. I haven't decided what name I want on the back though. That's the only
But
problem.
we talked about that before, didn't we? About one of the shows about having stars on there and
I
stuff.
really
And that
like
is
it.
just such a
Well, not
brilliant logo.
all
with those
clubs
stars.
do it, do they? But
No, that is so
I really
good.
like the Pau logo, and especially with the stars. And again, the first thing we said, wow, they've got their 7th star. After the show, we went, wow, they got their 7th star. Can we play the audio from when they lift the cup up? I know one of you's got that. Who's got that? Here he goes. He's got the trophy. Is that with the president?
Can we just
That sounds
Mention.
mental, doesn't it?
mention that so many years after We Are the Champions was written by Queen, is still
Yeah.
playing everywhere. Just shows how
It's the
great
definitive one.
Queen
Yeah.
were.
Definitive song for
It
winning.
has
isn't it?
legacy in it now as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, you star of the show, MVP was Slukas.
Yes.
Lucas.
For the first time, it's his 4th title.
Yeah.
It's the first time he's winning the MVP award.
Now, he signed a 3-year contract, I believe.
3.3 million every year.
Yep. So a 3-year contract.
It's all right, isn't it?
He's, by the time he ends this contract, he'll be like 30 or something like that.
37. He's 34 now.
Yep. I was just trying to think. I was doing it up, but he's got that legacy already. The question is, are they going to run it back next year?
That's the plan. The original plan was Panathinaikos will start this year. First steps, let's see what we do, how far we can go. Next year, that's when the
They did
the
it in
big
year one.
explosion will be. Yes, that's the amazing
So what did
thing.
you say the coach is saying about next year?
He hasn't said anything yet, but
You can't wait for that.
No.
He's going to
that's
go,
gonna
I
be-
guarantee you.
Well, I'm not Ataman, I'm not going to say anything, but he probably would. Now, Kendrick Nunn said, because Kendrick Nunn signed an extension with Panathinaikos. He has an NBA opt-out option if he wants to go back, but I don't know. I think he likes it there.
I think he tasted the experience of winning in Euroleague.
Yep.
And I think you see him in those pictures and he's just like, okay, this is a different winning feeling.
It's a different,
And it-
complete
from
It's a
coming
different
from the
weird
NBA,
feeling
isn't it?
in the NBA. How many players are there? And there's only like 20 or whatever. How many the teams have that win every year? And it's so much harder to win because you have to win against unless you go to a team that has superstars.
Yep.
Not the Dallas, obviously.
Oh, don't get him started.
Don't start
Don't
me
get
on
him
the George.
started.
Yeah.
Don't start me on.
So
In the finals, just saying.
You know, for players like Kendrick Nunn, they need other players to win an NBA championship. He's not LeBron James or Steph Curry or Kevin Durant or Luka or anything. In Panathinaikos, though, he is the player to pass the ball to. And what worked really well this year was Slukas. Slukas is a very confident player. He goes out there and says, I'm the best at this. I'm the best player in the court, so I don't care what you say. He didn't let that, selfishness in a way, to impair his playing relationship with Kendrick Nunn. They formed a brilliant duo in European basketball. And that's one of the keys of success.
With those 6 minutes left, Slukas hit 2 massive 3-point shots.
yes,
massive
one of
three-point
balance
shots.
as well.
Yep. And then, like literally within 2 minutes of that, 4 minutes left, Kendrick Nunn, he hit 2 massive 2-point shots. So you go, hang on a minute, in the space of that time, there's 10 points that those two guys have just knocked in there in the space of a 2.5 minute window in the fourth quarter. And they just went, oh, they're getting close to, that was 74-71 at that point. They just added 10 points on. And it was unanswered. There was just nothing they could do about it. And like you're saying, how they work together, you go, they're 2 different attacking players. So they're only going to defend one of them. They've got 2 different ways of attacking that you can't, as a defender, go, we're going to have this strategy. You can't have that. You can't lock. If you lock one down, the other one's open. That's it.
Yeah, definitely.
They did really, really well with that.
Yeah. And
But that's impressive for a team that's been rebuilt, though. I think that's probably the most impressive thing. We've got 12 new players on the team and a new coach, and they've gone from
zero to hero, pretty much. Yeah.
I would say they've got no pressure on them, but I think when the coach says we're getting the Final Four, it's...
Well, he's known for his extreme comments in a way. So maybe they just thought, what is he talking about? Or something like that. I don't know.
But a great 7th star.
Indeed.
Is it?
Yeah. And there's a new banner at Aduaka now, so I have to go and see that
So
now.
what's the banners like then for our listeners? Are they big banners like in the end, like
it's
Boston or...
Pretty much like the NBA. So every time you win, well, this is funny thing. So Panathinaikos has 7 banners now up. It's got 2 jerseys that they've taken off. So
Retired.
it's Diamantidis
Yeah.
retired. Yeah, Diamantidis. Number 13 is up, and number 4, which was Albertis, Frankie, who was the captain of Panathinaikos for.
Frankie. Big Frankie.
Yeah, his name's Francisco's, like Francisco, so they were calling him Frankie.
Big Frank?
Yeah.
Big Frank.
I'm not going to say that.
His face is like, you're sharp. Yeah, so here's number
Anyway,
4. So 13 and
number
4.
4 and number 13 are on the top of the roof of Oaga. And then we have the 7 banners now
Nice.
of the Euroleague. each with a picture that, that was like everybody that sees that picture of Panathinaikos fan will know, that's that EuroLeague.
Yeah.
Like this year, it was the scene where Slukas and Ataman raised the trophy together.
Yes.
I think there's another banner that has how many cups we won and another one that has how many championships we won, but like just the one. Now, Olympiacos on the other side, they have banners up, and that's one thing that Power fans are taking the piss out of them. They will put a banner up because they've participated in the Final Four. So they literally have
Like conference
No.
champions kind of thing. Or, yeah, would be the
if you go
equivalent.
to the Final Four, you don't win anything though. That's the
Yeah.
thing. You just
Oh, so they just
it's
made their own
But
Final
some
Four
people
banner.
do put divisional, in NBA, divisional banners and conference final banners. So it'd be the equivalent of that.
Pretty much,
I
yeah.
agree.
I can see.
Only
I
one
can see
team
where they're going, but
ends up winning their last game. You're the one of the season. You're the one who should put the banner.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be like in the NBA actually. If you did like Boston would be this year, we won the league. We were the most successful team in the league, so you do win a trophy for that, don't you? And that would then be.
I actually preferred
I'll get a
my
banner for
conference finals. Because it's Final Four, it's semi-final.
It is, but anyone in the conference finals in the NBA is already in the West or the East conference finals. This doesn't have a West or East, does it? Because they're obviously different countries, so you can't play.
Yeah,
them.
it's a bit. Yeah, I agree. However, they have got the best kit. In the Final Four, they're the best kit.
According to
Yes.
that's
My
fine.
expert opinion. Best
So
kit.
You're
I have a
entitled to your opinion.
So I have a question on Slukas. So he started his career and has been Olympiacos for quite a.
Slukas is from Thessaloniki, so I think he started his career with Aris. You wouldn't.
Okay.
Aris was massive in the 80s. He had. You need to know this name. You probably had never heard of it. Have you ever heard of Nick Gallis?
Did Big Frank play for him?
Right. Okay. Every Greek on the
I've
planet
heard of
that ever played basketball would be like, just shut it. Just turn it off now. If you don't know who Nick Gallis is, he's the person that brought basketball in
Okay.
Greece.
That was for Mark.
For not knowing Nick.
Right. So Aris was massive. I think Sluka started from that.
I've heard of Ares, obviously, but I haven't.
You've heard
I
of
don't-
Aris, the
I've heard of
Greek
Ares.
god of war, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. Not the
You mean
team.
Aries?
Not the
Why
same.
you say it weird all the time?
It's
Well, he said
Aris.
Aries.
It's not Aries.
Aries.
It's Aris.
Ares.
Aris.
wheels.
And in Latin mythology, it's Mars.
Mars.
It's the same.
Aries,
yeah.
Mars, yeah. God of War.
Okay. So yeah, he started in Thessaloniki, which is north in
Mhm.
Greece. I think he moved to Olympiacos when he was in a young age. When they went to the Final Four in 2010 Olympiacos, Lucas was on the side of the bench. He wasn't playing.
Okay.
11 Panathinaikos won, 12-13 Olympiacos won. Lucas was playing, so he
Yeah.
won his first two then. Then he won another one with Fenerbahce in 2017, and that was his fourth one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, because my question was like, if you've got someone who's played and is quite, I won't say well associated with
A certain team.
Olympiacos, he's now, it's been a big thing, hasn't it, that he has come to power?
I don't think Slugas was ever a true Olympiacos fan.
Okay.
If you see his celebrations throughout the year, not just in the Final Four,
Yeah.
he's like enjoying being in Panathinaikos more than what he was.
Is this a fan speaking or is this...
Yeah, that's exactly what
Maybe, but I've read this in websites and not Panathinaikos websites necessarily as well. You can see, they say that it could be because he has more freedom from his coach now. Like he's not Olympiacos coach, Barzogas. He's like, they call him, his nickname is the chess player because you have to go there and there and there. And if you deviate from his plan, he
Sit down.
Yeah. So maybe Slukas is happy because he's got freedom to be the player he wants to be, or maybe he's just a Panathinaikos fan and he just
Wow.
enjoys playing for the t-shirt. I don't know.
Well, George...
There are certain players that play for the team all their life.
But if you-
Yamanti's being one.
okay.
But with Spanoulis, then, for example, when he left Pau
Yeah.
and went to the Olympiacos,
He was like that. He was showing that he was enjoying it more. Yeah.
yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
say there
yeah.
was some hatred from Pau fans.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, massive.
So that's what I'm interested in the same way that you've talked about them being very, very passionate fans. What happens then if you've got someone who was playing for the enemy and then this year they're now playing for you and you've won a championship? Does that change that feeling, I guess?
Don't know. Depends on the fans, I guess.
How many more stars would you have to have with him playing for them to go, we would retire a jersey, for example, do you think?
What, for Panathinaikos?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Would they ever?
I think it's a fair question, though, isn't it?
Diamantidis was playing for the team for 11 years. Albertis, the other one, was playing for 20 years, pretty much. I can't remember. Look, I would like him to win a EuroLeague win 3 EuroLeagues.
But not the actual league, you said. You want him to win
the EuroLeague trophy. Yeah,
yeah, but the trophy.
No, it's not like the BBL that you don't win anything for finishing first.
No.
You have you finish first to go to the Final Four to get a chance for the trophy. So I want, if Panathinaikos
the league
wins,
doesn't mean anything other than getting to the Final Four.
It just gives you a better seat for the playoffs.
I was just thinking of what you said earlier, that the person who finishes first, from 2016, has
but that's
never
the same
won.
as the NBA. And it's why I always get confused. In the BBL and the NBL is you have the team that wins it and they go, you are league champions. You go, and I always like, when they make that statement, I'm like, well, they've won over a season. That's huge. That's really big. And now we got the players. I'm like, so what's
watered the playoffs down.
It's a bit silly, isn't it?
So I don't know. I think put more focus on the league or the playoffs. I don't know.
So the league is basically, that's where you're fighting for your playoff. It's just an extended playoff position.
I guess are we one of the more unique? We do that in the UK.
Yeah, it is a bit, but I think as well, because they also had, what was the other? Was it the trophy, and then they had a cup competition as well at some point, didn't they? That was, and it was trophy. But they had a cup that they've dropped, but that was a different thing again, wasn't it? And people were like, hang on, it's getting confusing.
That's the one thing is league and playoffs in the UK. When you put weight on that championship for the league, I get it, and I'm behind that, but it's like you I like the wording you use. It waters down the playoffs for me.
But the in-season,
unless you win the double,
NBA,
unless you win them both,
unless you win the double, and in the BBL in the UK they were doing the quadruple, weren't they? Because they'd win the trophy, they'd win the league, they'd win the playoffs. And then they'd also won that old one, which was a trophy. It was something in the middle. It's like, you've done the quadruple, and you're like,
I just got rid of, I think, for the All-Star game.
Yeah, and you just think, oh, this is just what? It's just super confusing.
George, I have got something for you. I have been contacted by multiple listeners with an idea to pose to you, and that is, once Power won, I started getting these messages, and these people said, why don't you next year for the EuroLeague Cup final, if Pao is in it or in the Final Four, do a live podcast with your EuroLeague expert George somewhere where we can come and watch the game with you and listen to the podcast at the same time?
I'd love to do that.
Man, if Panathinaikos goes in the final next year, I'll do whatever you want.
However,
and I mean, there's quite a lot of people message me the same thing. It's like, oh, okay, I'll pose it to you. So you're up for it then?
Before you answer that, George, and before the listeners hear this, I would just like you to describe, because I was messaging on that group. We were messaging on the basketball group. George, how you doing? How are your emotions at this point during the game? And your responses were quite interesting.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be the best commentator. Unless, if we get a treadmill, actually, I might be able to do it because I have to keep going up and down.
It'll be a fan
you
response.
You said you couldn't sit still.
It'll be a fan response, wouldn't it?
That would be amazing. Yeah, but that'd be amazing.
My pulse was literally over 100. Because I'm sitting down and I'm thinking, I'm just going to check that. I've checked it. I'm just sitting down doing nothing. Over 100. And I'm just going, it's one of them things, isn't it? But yeah, look, it's Lucas. Let's do an Ataman thingy now. If he wins the EuroLeague back-to-back for 3 years while his contract's there, then I'm going to start a petition to put his jersey
in
up
the
on the
wow.
Skywaggon.
Wow.
Yeah.
George, the actual words you used, mate, I'm about to have a stroke.
I was, yeah. Whether it was a struggle. Do you know what?
I can't believe it. I'm still shocked.
I sat there and just watched everything. I was watching the players celebrating, and then I read every single article in every Greek website.
So can you just, one thing that Paul and I just very briefly on it was how to watch it. And then that sounds really silly, but I've had so much difficulty trying to watch it.
Trying to watch a channel.
Guys, I did pay this. I mean, I've paid for the final. It was £5,
I should just
£5.99.
come around your house.
You should, yeah. We left it too late for that.
Next
fine.
year we'll do a thing.
So I was trying to look for it and thought, oh, someone's going to be streaming. Everyone who was on there who was streaming like images of if
quite
the play
common.
was going left or right.
Yeah.
And
All
a lot
the
of people-
crowd,
and you're
all
thinking,
the fans.
yeah,
Kind of.
like, that's
I
good.
quite like the fan one where it went back and forth, and then you had the score, so you could. But you saw the reaction of the fans,
It was like a play-by-play.
and that's when
Yeah.
you saw how
But-
loud they were when they were down by 14. It was
yeah.
like, oh wow, that is cool support. That's really good support.
And they're all supporting. And again, they've travelled. They've gone somewhere. It's like a bit like a World Cup for football or something, I guess, where you're going. If you want to go support your team, you have to go travel somewhere. It's not local.
On the final, Panathinaikos only had about 5,000 people in the semi-final because the tickets were distributed evenly, sort of. On the final, Panathinaikos, they think that he had about 15,000 people.
Oh wow,
Really?
I
Because-
caught advantage then.
There were people that would travel to Berlin without tickets in the hope that they'll find people to sell them, to buy them from.
finals tickets.
Yeah, because the Fener fans and a lot of Olympiacos fans actually sold their tickets to Panathinaikos fans. Because if you don't care about, that's on the third place game, you know, the small final, whatever they call it. So it was Olympiacos against.
It's not really though, is it?
No, it's a useless game, and that's funny enough. Do you know what?
No
You don't
one
get-
cares who comes third, do
Mate,
they?
so-
no one cares.
No, Scotty Wilbekin, the bloke I was telling earlier, when they were taking, you know, he was making some
It's a useless final, isn't it?
comments. He said, "What's the point of this game? The slogan, the motto of the Euroleague is every game counts. Well, every game apart from this, because the third position game you get nothing for finishing first. You get 100 grand more than the fourth team. Actually, you get 800 grand as a
Oh, so there is actually a monetary thing.
yeah, nowhere
Okay.
near football, but yeah." Panathinaikos got 1.7 for winning the league.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, Panathinaikos fans traveled to Berlin and they just bought tickets from people that didn't want to see the final because the team didn't qualify.
If you are an Olympiacos fan and someone from Panathinaikos is like, oh, I'm going to come and buy the ticket off
You're
you,
going
you'd
to
be
burn
like,
it in front of them.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to ask you that question again. So
Yeah.
you've paid 300 euros for your ticket, plus traveling fees, plus food, accommodation, blah, 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 blah. And a Panathinaikos fan comes and says, I'll give you a grand.
Let's
for
go,
your
pal.
ticket."
Let's go, pal. Here you go.
Would you sell your ticket or not?
Give me two.
You go.
Okay,
Sure.
you can do that. But
If you're going to pay, you're going to
Yeah.
pay.
There you go.
And if not, they'd be like, that's too much. Just go, done. I'll sleep in the hotel. I'll eat the food. That's fine. If you hate them that much, make them sweat.
You would, yeah.
I'd actually, or you'd say, right, we'll go to a basketball court. You got to hit three free throws in a row, and then I'll sell them to you.
he's really obsessed with free throws, isn't
I
he?
love
He
them.
is very obsessed with free throws.
And there was some real clutch free throws in that game, in the final,
How can a
Kept
free throw be clutch?
because I can't remember the name of the guy. I'm going to look him up right now, but he kept Real Madrid ahead by like 2 points just from hitting the free throws. And I think that's quite important because he kept them just in that gap, that spacing.
Who, Capazzo
That-
or Lul?
It was.
How many notes he's made on this game.
Campazzo.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 free throws right towards the end of the season.
Well, look,
Made a
when
difference.
you talk about the Euroleague, the highlight you got to say is the Olympic.
Having George on the show.
Kit. There you go. Look at his face.
The highlight is you trying to say Olympiacos, but
Look, we got to give a huge shout out to Pao winning their 7th star. There you go.
there you go.
Right.
Arguably, probably their most important
Is it?
star, other than the first one. because they've broken an 11-year drought of not being winners.
Well, considering that they won 2007, 2009, 2011, they had like those 5 years.
Yeah.
They were
And
just
then they just had
conquering it.
nothing.
Yeah. And then when
So do you think, honestly speaking, do you think next season is not isn't going to be a strong season, but can you see there's a good chance of Final Four
I
again?
think they're going to be stronger next season.
Stronger?
Yeah, the plan is to sign a top level center as well, apart from Lesord. Because now we played Le Sword.
The sword.
Not the. Okay.
Swordfish.
Let's go with that. Sword or whatever.
That's a
That
great
is a
one.
good.
So
Bring out the sword.
What's his first name?
Matthias.
Matthias the Sword. The Sword. It's a great name, isn't it?
He could have the sword on like one of those
He could
jerseys.
have an actual claymore sword behind
I
his
think-
back,
yeah, I
and
think
as
I'm
he
just gonna go.
as he draws
Just come
it,
out with
it
the-
goes on fire like charge.
That would be cool.
Right.
On a horse? Would come out on a horse?
Oh, I don't know. Oh dear.
Yeah.
What?
What, Aragorn?
Gandalf, when he's coming down the thing, he goes, "To the king!" That one.
No. When the final battle.
Death.
Yeah, what he was saying. 4? Where are they from? It's not Mordor. What's the other?
Rohan. The riders
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Rohan, where they're on the edge of Gondor and Minas Tirith, and they will see all the guys and like, we're about to die, and you just go, fight for glory. I could actually possibly think, fight for ruin, fight for death, and he does the shield. Yeah, death. If that doesn't make you choke, you have no soul.
I was thinking Highlander with the sword. That's what I was thinking.
I
Not
was
sword.
very, very young when that came out, so I don't know.
No one watches that.
Not that you're much older, but you are.
But I am, yeah.
Right.
No, do you know what? I've really enjoyed the EuroLeague, and comparatively to some of the other, like the BBL and the NBA, it's just a different flavour of basketball, like you said, George.
I think
It's,
next year I need to get you guys.
Yeah. George is going to
involved
review
in the-
every game for you, Mark, and have your own show.
I genuinely, if you can, before the season starts, maybe we'll do a show of what is going to be coming on, like who's in it, because like you say, there's going to be some, you often get
Wild cards.
some wild cards coming in. So we'll do like a run out show.
Yeah.
We'll get George to do that one. And I think it would be good if we say, how can you watch it? I know that sounds really stupid, but it's not actually obvious.
No, because it's not on TV. You literally have to buy a pass
Yeah.
on the EuroLeague
And we
TV
do
app.
have listeners who want to meet George and hear us talk whilst there's a game going on.
If
They wanna watch you
Panathinaikos
sweat.
goes to the final next year, we will
What's
do
your
it.
prediction for next year? Let's round this up. What's your prediction next
Mate,
year?
I don't even know what players we're going to sign for next year. I can't give you. I'm not Ergin Ataman.
Pao,
I'm not gonna
Final
go.
Four?
Hopefully. We don't even know where the Final Four is taking place next year, bear in mind. So,
Yeah, they don't. When do they announce that stuff?
before the season starts.
It's not going to be London. We know that.
Definitely not going to be London. Maybe Barcelona.
Mark, what's your prediction for the EuroLeague winner next year?
They're going back to back.
Back to back. Pao, back to back.
I'm brilliant.
Panathinaikos, double champions.
Wow.
And then the year after, triple champions. And then
Wow.
we start the petition.
No, they're not. No, they're going to
Well,
choke
I'll
them.
tell you what, I'm going to give you my prediction. Just going to disagree with you a little bit. I'm going to say, was it Olympiacos? Olympiacos, they've fallen to Real Madrid 2 years in a row. Next year will be the year they win the EuroLeague final.
No.
That is my prediction.
Well, thank you for joining us on another episode. Go back and check out. We've got 115, 16, I don't know how many now. But anyway, George, thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. I
have been
Mark.
pouring a huge shout out to our PAL listeners out there and the supporters of PAL for hating badminton. Oh, and thanks for George for coming on the show. Cheers, George.
Cheers, guys.